today we had a session on by morning on entrepreneurship. So that session had an overwhelming response, which stated that many of us are interested in entrepreneurship. We wish to be an entrepreneur, but we fear the challenges and uncertainties. So we have today in the midst of us an eminent person. So from Bangladesh, so Dr. Nazrul sir, professor. So he is in the midst of us. So in spite of his technical inconvenience and in spite of his long day of work, sir has given his consent to deliver the session for today. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being with us. And I hand over the session now I hand over it over to Dr. Bhavani Devi, professor of Tagore Engineering College, Department of Management Studies, to introduce the chief guest of the day. Over to you, Bhavani.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening to one and all present here. I take immense pleasure in introducing the chief guest of the day, Dr. Nasrul Islam. Welcome, sir. To tell about his achievements and he has around 30 years of teaching and research experience, and he is currently serving as a dean, School of Business in Canadian University of Bangladesh. He has wide range of publications with around 62 international research articles in renowned international journals, indexed by Scopus, ABDC, EBSCO-Host, ProQuest, etc. And he has published around 29 research papers in national journals. He has also been a reviewer for various renowned and refereed journals. He has achieved Bangladesh Education Leadership Award in 2017, award in 2018 in the category of Best Professor in Business Administration. It is indeed a privilege to invite you to this session, sir. Thank you very much for coming. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Many thanks for introducing me. Today, I am going to discuss on one part of the series of discussions arranged by Tagore Institute, and that is leadership strategies. So I am going to talk about the leadership dimensions for entrepreneurship. That means the business entrepreneurship. What about the leadership dimensions? What will be the appropriate leadership in post-COVID-19 environment in the businesses, and that can help them to survive and grow after this COVID-19 environment. So what I will do, I will discuss. Next slide. I will discuss few things on the impact. All of you know the impact of COVID-19 on business entrepreneurship or business. Then I will discuss few things on the background issues, and then strategic options for the entrepreneurs, and also the leadership strategies to recover from COVID-19 crisis, how to recover, which is the topic today. So next. So if you look at, all of us are now experiencing all over the world the crisis, and I think all of us are impacted or influenced by this COVID-19 pandemic and crisis. If we look at the statistics, we can see that the 69% demand for goods and services are reduced in this corona pandemic, COVID-19 on business, and also 41% supply chain uncertainty has been increased, and also 15% staff shortages are there. And if you look at the financial impact, then you will see that the 72% cash flow has been reduced because of this COVID pandemic, and 41% reduced ability to pay operating expenses. So that we are experiencing, or we are seeing that companies are downsizing their employees, and also 24% reduced access to credit or funds. That means the companies are also not in a good position to source the funds, so they are in a problem in this current situation. And the external impact is on 44% uncertain financial markets and 53% government restrictions. That means this picture shows that we are really in a crisis, and right now we are going through this crisis, and after when this COVID will be over, then how our business entrepreneurs will continue their business, or how they will survive and grow after the COVID. That's what I am going to discuss in today's discussion. Next. Next. Okay, if you look at the crisis, crisis came in the world many times. Previous, previous slide. Okay, if you look at the history of mankind, you will see that the crisis came many times in the world. But it was not always devastating. It was not always the destructive. But when there was a crisis, it also helped us to develop our societies. Therefore, we have seen that this pandemic came different time from 1918, have helped advance healthcare systems in the world. Also, the wars have influenced technological innovations in the world. So, and because of the result of war, we have seen that uh, because of the war, we have seen that the birth of international Red Cross and also the nursing profession. So this has been created because of the war. So this pandemic or this corona or COVID-19 is not always a problem for the humanity, but it is also blessings, because it also helped us to be innovative, to come up with some kind of innovative technologies which were really useful for the human being later on. If we look at the global financial crisis in 2008, you will see that it helped develop advanced technological companies having technological innovation. That means in last decades, and manifested the companies such as Airbnb, Uber, Amazon, Netflix and other service platforms. That means this financial crisis in 2008 also helped us to create some technology-based companies, and the benefits of these companies were enjoyed by the people of the world. In fact, wars and crises have stimulated innovation on multiple levels. It helped in leapfrogging technological innovation, and it enabled social empowerment, created human rights or environmental movements, and even it created multilateral organizations such as United Nations. After World War, it has been created. Then also World Health Organization, an institution that is so pivotal to getting our heads around what is going on currently. So the crisis is not always the cards. It is sometimes also blessings. So next. The present coronavirus crisis, I hope that will also not be an exception. This crisis will certainly bring some opportunities for the businesses and the business entrepreneurs to innovate something new for the mankind. And entrepreneurs are the right people who can take the lead, who can be expected to rise to this challenge and come up with new things for the society. Businesses, play a vital role both in helping society get through an economic crisis and also creating innovations that shape society after a crisis. So business organizations, business entrepreneurs can use these can capitalize these crises or challenges and make it opportunity for the humanity, for the customers, for the human being. So one key question is, how will the ongoing crisis influence future society? This present crisis, that is the corona virus pandemic, and while it's hard to predict the future, we can develop an understanding through these discussions and analyzing and sharing our thoughts that what will be the influence after the crisis. And only entrepreneurship can play a vital role to adjust with the crisis and come up with some new innovations that are useful and that will be useful for the mankind of the world. Next. You know that the global pandemic, this coronavirus pandemic, is also associated with the restricting people's movement. Now people are unable to move from one country to another country. It has already been restricted. So therefore, a lot of disruptions have been occurred for the business houses because of restrictions of people's movement. We have also observed that major shifts in business practices. There are shifts. For example, we were in person marketing, and now we see it is on online. Online marketing has been developed and has been practiced by the marketeer and also by the customers. They are also habituated with this practice. Now people are working from home in new form, while many personal meetings, now today we are also having meeting and conference have been replaced by video meetings and other virtual forms of communication because of the restricting people's movement. And some businesses, especially restaurants, tourism businesses and movie theaters, etc., have come to a complete stop. Nowadays, this business has a great loss, and people are not going to restaurant, and tourism experts are without the visitors, and movie theaters there is no persons or their viewers. So these are basically the negative impact of this pandemic. And others like manufacturers of consumer goods have seen a sharp drop in demand as consumers are either unable to visit shops or lack of spare cash for non-essential purchases. We see that the people are unable to go out to their houses, so they cannot go to shops, so they cannot buy. So consumer goods demands have been drastically fall, and also people are not willing to spare cash for non-essential purchases at this pandemic situation. Next. This crisis has got short-term impact and of course the long-term impact. Consumers may simply postpone the purchase of a new car or washing machine, but they may not want to buy the same types of services in future, and they will not be able to stop their purchases of their necessary goods. So the luxurious goods, they may stop buying for some time, but for the essential goods they will not be able to stop buying. They must buy. Therefore, the businesses in luxurious goods are for the time being almost become slow, but we hope that it will be different after the pandemic, and that is why the entrepreneurs must have some specific strategies or the policies to overcome this crisis. Many firms have initially responded to the crisis not only by cutting costs but by engaging in new entrepreneurial activities. We have seen that many firms have cut their cost by downsizing the people and by other means, and all, but at the same time they have also initiated some new entrepreneurial activities around the world. We see the examples of resourceful responses to the crisis. For example, the distilleries in the United States, Canada, Australia started to produce hand sanitizers. Now they are producing hand sanitizers. They have shifted. They are producing something different, which are not produced by them earlier. Fashion businesses like Zara, H&M, Headley, and Bennett and Trigma are producing protective gear, gowns, and other supplies for hospitals. So we see these are the new entrepreneurial activities adopted by the companies. Next. Airline crews, for example, including those employed by SAS, the Scandinavian Airlines, are being retrained to help out in the hospitals. That means a new avenue has been created, will be created for them because of this new training under the hospitals. The shortage of ventilators in hospital intensive care units has not only motivated healthcare companies such as Philips and Dresser to increase production, but also triggered Canadian automobile suppliers and car brands like Ford to produce the life-saving medical devices. That means these devices are also now producing by these automobile companies. So these all impact and the influences these all basically examples show basically two common features to us. First, the companies are showing citizenship. That means companies are basically trying to focusing on their customers. That means they realize that they have an interest in societal well-being, and that they may need to give up short-term profits for the benefit of the society. And the second, they are showing resourcefulness. That means they are developing creative responses to emerging challenges with scarce resources. That means they are responding. They are showing that they are resourceful. They can face any they can face any they can face any crisis, and they care for the people, they care their customers. So in combination, we see that the citizenship and resourcefulness basically can drive the socially aware entrepreneurship. If the entrepreneurs care this citizenship behavior, citizenship policy, and also resourcefulness, that they can solve any problem of the customers, they can come up with creative solutions for the customers, then then basically they are socially aware entrepreneurship they are showing for their customers and clients. Next. Now we shall see what are the specific options for entrepreneurs for this after this COVID crisis. Now the first thing I think that the entrepreneurs can build foundations for their future. That's the fund in this crisis period, so that after crisis they will be able to use that foundation and act on it. Will be able to act on it. Some entrepreneurial actions during the crisis may shape firms in the long run and give them the foundation. For example, innovation is one. The crisis creates opportunities for businesses to become more innovative. That is true, but facing external pressures, some businesses leaders are stepping out of their routine jobs and comfort zones to become creative problem solvers. Now they are creative problem solvers. They are coming up with new solutions, new idea, new value for the customers. Along the way, they rediscovered their entrepreneurial spirit. That means innovation. Whereas while some will continue to pursue opportunities first identified during the crisis, perhaps some automobile suppliers will make medical equipment, while service providers integrate new online interfaces with their traditional businesses. So for building the foundation, the companies or entrepreneurs can go for innovation, can give the creative solutions, contemporary customer solution, and they can develop their expertise on it. And the second thing is the create reputations. That means reputations are built and lost. Both are may happen in the crisis. Companies demonstrating good companies, they good citizenship by helping with shortages or by making major donations to the people, are also probably hoping that customers will remember after the crisis for their helping actions, for their help when the economy returns to normal. What's motivating employees will during a time a hardship enhances a company's reputation as an employer and helps attract talent as well as building a loyal workforce. That means the creation of reputations. So for building the foundation of the company for the future, company can think about this strategically, the innovative solution, and also can build the reputation to their customers. Next. On the other hand, there might have companies, there are also a lot of opportunities to ruin the reputation. Companies that are treating their employees or customers badly. For example, they are downsizing their employees, or they are not coming forward or responding to the customers' need. So that company will not be able to perhaps survive after this pandemic situation. And similarly, if corporate behemoths, that means large corporations like Amazon, fail to provide reliable logistics solutions to small businesses, then others will develop competing platforms. And those new platforms will not only enable buyers and sellers to meet, but will also integrate service providers to transport products in a timely and reliable manner. So foundation creation can be one of the strategic option in front of the entrepreneurs in this pandemic environment, and that can help them to survive and grow after this COVID environment. Next. I think the next strategic option entrepreneurs may have the technological push. Here we have already seen that there are service innovations and in front of the companies and the customers. Beyond the existing firms, some sectors of the economy are likely to grow. New technologies can offer numerous opportunities as the crisis transforms the products and services they can offer. Service businesses in particular are likely to see a lot of innovations in how services created, packaged, and sold. So lot of things they are going to innovations. And you know the recent trends in China offer a glimpse of what is feasible for businesses. So Chinese experience also can be utilized in this regard. So for example, online shopping and entertainment received a major boost during the coronavirus shutdown via online platforms like Alibaba, WeChat, and their associated ecosystems. That means this online shopping and entertainment, this became very important, and which are basically technology-based, information technology-based business. And so this technology push also can be an important strategy for the entrepreneurs to survive and grow after the after COVID-19. Next. In the healthcare sector, health-related smartphone apps are proliferating in China and possibly soon globally. Artificial intelligence is another thing is helping hospital emergency rooms, while virtual reality has moved from entertainment to a tool to a valuable source for technical training and maintenance. So the companies that become competent and move quickly in these areas during the crisis will have a strategic advantage over their competitors in the post-pandemic economy. For example, whoever builds the most reliable and speedy logistics infrastructure for delivering goods to private homes during the lockdown is likely to gain loyal customers after the pandemic. Next. Another strategy can be followed by the entrepreneurs is the consumer pool. The customers, that means both individual consumers and businesses are becoming accustomed to new forms of businesses such as online ordering for home delivery. So both the consumers and customers, that means business house and also the ultimate consumers, both are now becoming accustomed and habituated online ordering and home delivery. So their established habits have been disrupted now, changing their attitudes and expectations. For example, search in video meeting creates comfort with the method of interaction, and users learn how to be effective in meetings without face-to-face interactions. So here consumers also can be given importance, and their demands, their service can be given based on their demand. That means customized service can be given to the consumers. Integration of online and offline offering after the shutdown, many people will expect more integration of online and offline offerings. Many people and many customers will not only expect offline service, they will also expect online because of the habit is created in last 4 to 5 months. They will likely also be more at ease with using new technologies because they are, in the meantime they have already learned how to use it, especially video conferencing that can also reduce travel costs and carbon emissions. So it is clear that the post-pandemic future will be different than before. What is happening during the crisis will have a lasting impact on society. So current signs of entrepreneurial initiative and goodwill give us some cause for optimism. Next. Now we shall discuss what could be the strategic leadership strategy to recover from COVID-19 crisis. So as we have seen that air travel is being hit hard, closed almost. Sports leagues are closed, big events are being cancelled, countries are putting up travel restrictions to try to keep the virus outside their borders. Public health officials and hospitals are bracing for the worst. In times of crisis, it can be hard to stay calm and be optimistic. But fortunately, these entrepreneurs and business leaders, they are staying calm under pressure. That is their part of their job description. So these entrepreneur can become proactive. They can take the proactive steps now. Entrepreneur can put the business in a more secure position to stay strong and recover faster once the crisis subsides. In fact, China, the country where the virus first emerged, is already showing signs of economic recovery. So the other country also will be able to do that after this pandemic. Here are few key strategies and insights to help the business recover from coronavirus after pandemic. Next. So the first strategy, leader can think that the business leader can think that think about how coronavirus affects customers. So that's the main issue, how it is affecting. Depending on what industry you are in, your customers might be having some specific new pain points related to coronavirus. Think strategically about how the pandemic is affecting the customers, what is making them worry, and how the business can help. So then you can adjust your sales pitch and design your marketing around how to address these specific challenges and worries. So think about the customers' sufferings. For example, are the customers worried about supply chain disruptions? Worried about how to manage employees in an environment where everyone might need to work from home? Worried about travel restrictions? Struggling with general market uncertainty and slowdown in the demand? Wondering how to manage their cash flow? Or facing a short of key inventory or supplies driven by consumers panic buying and stocking up. So these are the questions that the entrepreneur can think about and and then can respond accordingly. Next. All of these business challenges can be exacerbated by a crisis like coronavirus. So the entrepreneur's job as a business owner is to figure out how to reposition your products and services to be helpful and address the specific pain points that your customers are confronting now. For example, if you sell video conferencing solutions, for example, this is an ideal opportunity for you to offer additional support and consulting to help your customers figure out how to adapt their remote workflows. If you are in the logistics business, now is a good time to reach out to the customers with possible solutions to navigate the latest issues affecting the global supply chain. So this can be thought about the business leaders from a strategic point of view. Next. So strategically, business leaders also can think about embracing the new sales channels. That is another strategic option can be thought by the business leaders. Even as more of the country goes into lockdown, people still are going to want and need to buy things, creating opportunity to serve their market by alternative sales channels. For example, if coronavirus is cutting down on foot traffic on your retail business, look to expand your e-commerce offerings. So electronic business can be ensured. For example, restaurants in China have seen a decrease in the in-store customers, so they are selling takeaway meal instead. So China, they have already adjusted, and the restaurants are now working. They are giving sending the meals to the house of the customers. So can also the business leader also can boost online marketing efforts and e-commerce sales. So by creating more conversations on social media and linked to instead of in-person sales meetings. So many business-to-business companies are already well positioned for these, especially if they sell software or other digital services and solutions. Next. From a strategic point of view, business leaders also can work on long-term investments in their businesses. Long-term investments. That means, especially if it is business-to-business sales, the coronavirus might be an opportunity to make some longer-term investments in the business, especially seeing a short-term slowdown. This is the time to reevaluate the business operations, platforms, and processes, and do some long-term strategic planning. So long-term strategic planning can be done by the business leader as a strategy, and keep nurturing the business leads with the long view in mind, even if the short-term headlines are crazy and the situation feels uncertain. Next. Another strategic point can be thought about the prepare for pent-up demand. So another lesson from Chinese businesses is that the post-coronavirus economic recovery might be faster than we expect. So how can we make it faster? That's the issue. So if you cut back too far today, you might not be positioned to capitalize on the post-crisis recovery. Therefore, companies can put some good steps in place
मुकुल
today
कौन अपन
to be
mistake में
positioned
वो थे कुछ कोई
for tomorrow. There are always challenges and crises affecting the businesses, and we can adapt the embrace the opportunities, and bounce back stronger even from a major crisis like coronavirus. So the companies can prepare themselves for faster recovery. Next. Another issue can be the aim for survivability and resilience. In the post-COVID-19 world, contingency planning should be built into every link of the value chain to ensure survival. That means they must think about the contingency plan. Instead of structuring partnerships on the business of leverage and getting the better end of the deal whenever possible, firms will have to be much more strategic in choosing which alliances are essential and which are transactional. So on the basis of this, they must prepare a contingency plan. So also firms can increase the reliability. Therefore, redundancy will trump efficiency with regard to critical resources, and investing too much in the in one partner or supplier or market can be as bad as idea as betting your life savings on one horse. That means that for survival and resilience, companies can think about their contingency plan so that they can recover faster after this COVID pandemic. Next. Quantify and plan the ecological and environmental threats rather than just describe them. So today many executives and analysts talk about various types of threats in a descriptive way, but I think with very little in-depth forethought about how to deal with them should they arise. So the good old concept of scenario planning is still with us, but very few businesses seem to practice it in a systematic and thorough way. So businesses should thus dedicate more resources to quantify various types of threats of that business, although there is no broad consensus on the best way to do it, but still they must have to do it. They must quantify, and they must have their specific plan to recover this crisis from this crisis. Next. Another strategic issue is the build a strong organizational immune system rather than maximize short-term profit. So when it comes to measuring and anticipating threats, technology is an important part of the package. And in the business world to come, advantage will belong to firms that convey bad news upwards quickly rather than flinching from it. So companies that can spot problems can identify the problems now when they look small, learn more from them, and build preventive measures rapidly possesses what can be called as a strong organizational immune system. Just as our white blood cells identify and destroy invader cells early before they wreak havoc in our bodies. Companies need long, sensitive feelers and hyper responsive capability at all levels of the organization to stay in the pink of health. So this immune system can be built, can be made stronger, and that can be thought by the leaders, business leaders. Next. Integrate government politics rather than focusing on business economics. So this crisis is not only facing by the customers and not only by the public, by the general people. It is also facing by the government. So a kind of integration is required to survive and grow by the business. And what we have seen in 2008, business leaders integrated with the government politics, and based on it, and afterwards they came out from the crisis. So beyond national security, firms in sectors deemed essential to national public welfare, conveying a wide range of sectors from food to medical supply, machinery and electronics equipment, and transportation and energy will be the first to feel the pressure to localize. So these firms or business houses should integrate with the government and with the pressure groups to face this crisis. Next. So we can say that there are this is the options. Some options I mentioned in my discussions. These options might be useful for the business leaders or entrepreneurs after this after this pandemic situation. And these strategies are, of course, these are interrelated, and indeed in the post COVID world 19 world, these strategic levers typically operate will be in combination rather than in isolation. So these strategic options or the strategic policies can be thought in combination, not isolated way. So broadly speaking, strategy after COVID-19 will be less about beating your economic competitors and more about how businesses can contribute to combating a larger shared enemy like climate change, pandemics, or perhaps socio-political woes such as inequality. So there is nothing new about this. The US in the World War II, for example, saw a tremendous cooperative effort between businesses as well as between private and public sectors. The COVID-19 new normal may actually be a return to an older equilibrium between business and society and wide stakeholder collaboration. So therefore, the new and innovative business strategies by the business entrepreneurs at the COVID-19 period will certainly make the differences of the businesses to survive and grow after COVID-19 situation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So, it was a very wonderful session, sir. So you have said to like your quote that we must meet the challenge rather than wish it were not before us. So,
Exactly.
yes, sir. So you did mean by your session that COVID is not a challenge at all, and it has created. You have stated so many cases, so many examples of different organization, and you have said about like online marketing. So these are all the very vital things which has gained its own phase through this COVID-19 pandemic. And you have mentioned that it is not a challenge at all, and how we have to make use of it and how it can be turned out as an opportunities with very lively examples, sir. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your time. And over to participants. If you have any questions, you can post your questions. Any questions? Any questions? I think there are no questions.
Maybe they can ask later on in
Yes, sir.
Facebook. Yeah, then we can answer.
Yeah, sure, sir.
No.
So feedback link will be shared in the group. So you can fill the feedback link which is shared in the group.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Then I will
In,
answer there. I will answer from there.
yes, sir. If they have any questions, you can answer there, sir. Yes, sir. So thank you, participants. Thank you for being with us. And we will meet tomorrow the same time for day 3 session. Thank you all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to this very important session and informative talk.
Yes, sir.
Although this was very difficult to talk and
Yes,
Hans,
sir.
but
Yes,
even
sir.
then, I discussed few things. I raised few issues. I identified some areas that could be useful for the business entrepreneurs after pandemic. When pandemic will be over.
Yes,
Thank you
sir. Sure, sir.
for inviting me.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. It was a pleasure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Can we close it, Bhavani?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay.